Thomas was 74 years old, and he prided himself on being an early bird. For 40 years, the moment his eyes opened at 6 a.m., he was in motion. He didn't linger. He didn't hit the snooze button. He believed that starting the day with high energy was the key to staying young. But on a cold Tuesday in November, that habit of starting fast turned his bedroom into the scene of a life-altering tragedy. His wife, Martha, heard a sound from the master bedroom that she would later describe as a hollow thud. When she ran into the room, she found Thomas on the floor, his eyes wide and vacant, his speech nothing more than a slurred, incomprehensible moan. Thomas hadn't been hit by a car. He hadn't fallen down a flight of stairs. He had simply made one invisible 10-second mistake, a mistake that millions of seniors make every single morning before they even take their first sip of water. When they brought him into my unit, the damage was already done. A massive ischemic stroke had silenced the left side of his brain. Thomas and his family were devastated. They kept asking me, how could this happen? His blood pressure was managed. His cholesterol was normal. He was healthy just 1 minute before. I'm Dr. Jason Watanabe. In my career as a cardiac surgeon, I have performed over 800 heart procedures. I have seen the wreckage of strokes that could have been avoided with a simple, quiet change in routine. Most people worry about what they eat or how much they walk, and while those are important, they are ignoring the single most dangerous window of time for a person over 60, the first 30 seconds after you wake up. There is an invisible mechanical failure that happens in your arteries during those 30 seconds. It is a physiological trap that can send your blood pressure into a dangerous surge, even if you are on medication. Today, I am going to reveal exactly what that mistake is, why your body's pressure-sensing system fails you as you age, and a 10-second fix that can virtually eliminate this stroke risk tomorrow morning. Thomas didn't know he was walking into a trap. He thought he was being active. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to exit your bed with a brain that is fully protected. Thomas was a retired educator, a man who believed that momentum was the secret to a productive life. That morning, when he swung his legs out of bed and stood up in one fluid motion, he felt a slight wobble in his vision. Most of us call it a head rush. You've probably felt it yourself, a brief moment where the room seems to dim and you have to grab the nightstand to steady yourself. Thomas ignored it. He had felt it before, and it always passed within a few seconds. He thought it was just a sign that he needed his morning coffee to get the blood moving. But inside Thomas's neck and chest, a catastrophic mechanical failure was unfolding. To understand what happened to him, we have to look at how your body fights gravity. When you are lying down for 8 hours, your heart is in low pressure mode. Your blood is moving horizontally, which is easy. Gravity isn't pulling the fluid toward your feet. But the moment you transition from lying flat to standing upright, gravity immediately tries to pull about a quart of your blood down into your legs and abdomen. In a healthy system, this isn't a problem. Your body has a specialized group of internal pressure gauges called baroreceptors. They are located in your carotid arteries and your heart. Their job is to sense that sudden drop in pressure and send a lightning-fast signal to your brain. He's standing up. Squeeze the blood vessels and speed up the heart. In a 20-year-old, these sensors react in less than a second. But as we cross the age of 60, these sensors become rusty. They lose their sensitivity. When Thomas stood up fast, his sensors didn't send the signal in time. For several seconds, his brain was effectively being starved of oxygenated blood. This is a condition we call orthostatic hypotension. But the danger isn't just the drop in pressure. The real stroke risk comes from what happens next. When those rusty sensors finally wake up and realize the brain is starving, they overreact. They send a panic signal to the heart, causing a massive secondary spike in blood pressure to compensate for the drop. This rebound surge is like a tidal wave hitting a delicate seawall. For Thomas, that sudden, violent surge was exactly what caused a small, unstable piece of plaque in his artery to break loose and travel to his brain. Thomas thought he was just being efficient. In reality, he was forcing his cardiovascular system to go from 0 to 60 in a way it could no longer handle. In the next few minutes, I'm going to explain why your medication might actually be making this morning trap even more dangerous. And I'll reveal the 10-second habit that would have kept Thomas's blood pressure in the safe zone. Many of my patients, like Thomas, are diligent about their health. They take their blood pressure pills every night before bed, believing that this chemical shield is protecting them. But there is a cruel irony in cardiovascular medicine that almost no one discusses. The very medications designed to keep your blood pressure low during the day can become a hidden risk factor during the first 30 seconds of your morning. When you take antihypertensive drugs, especially diuretics or beta blockers, your body's ability to clamp down your blood vessels is chemically suppressed. These drugs are doing their job. They are keeping your system relaxed. But when you stand up suddenly, your body needs to clamp those vessels down to fight gravity. Because of the medication in your system, your baroreceptors are essentially working with their hands tied behind their backs. The drop in pressure becomes deeper, and the subsequent panic surge from your heart becomes even more violent. Added to this is a factor that most people ignore: the dehydration gap. During 8 hours of sleep, you are losing moisture through every breath. You wake up with a lower blood volume than at any other time of the day. This means your pipes are only 3/4 full. When you stand up fast in a dehydrated state while on blood pressure medication, you are creating a perfect storm for a vascular accident. In the surgical world, we see the results of this perfect storm in the form of TIA, transient ischemic attacks, or what people call mini-strokes. You might experience these as a moment of sudden dizziness, a brief tingling in your fingers, or a flicker in your vision after getting out of bed. Many seniors dismiss these as just getting a bit dizzy. But as a surgeon, I see them for what they truly are. They are near-miss events. They are warnings that your brain just barely survived a pressure spike. Thomas had been experiencing these near misses for months. He told Martha he just needed to get his sea legs in the morning. He didn't realize that his brain was already screaming for a change in his physical mechanics. He was relying on his pills to do the work that his movement should have been doing. In a moment, I'm going to walk you through the 3-step action plan that would have saved Thomas. It isn't a new pill, and it doesn't cost a cent. It is a sequence of 3 specific movements that take exactly 10 seconds each, designed to prime your circulatory system before gravity has a chance to strike. Thomas thought that waking up was a mental act. He thought that once his eyes were open, his body was ready to go. But as a surgeon, I know that waking up is a mechanical act. You have to prepare the fluid in your body for the change in posture. To avoid the trap that caught Thomas, you must follow a specific sequence that begins before your feet even touch the floor. I call the first step the brain pump. When you first wake up and realize you're conscious, do not move your torso. Stay flat on your back for 10 seconds. During these 10 seconds, I want you to perform a simple, vigorous movement with your feet. I want you to pump your ankles back and forth, pointing your toes toward the ceiling and then toward the wall, as fast as you can. Why does this matter for your stroke risk? Your calf muscles are often called your second heart. They contain a large network of veins that hold a significant portion of your blood volume while you are lying down. By pumping your ankles, you are physically squeezing that blood out of your lower legs and back toward your heart. You are priming the pump. You are telling your heart that a demand is coming, and you are providing it with the fluid volume it needs to maintain pressure when you finally do stand up. Thomas didn't do this. He allowed his blood to stay stagnant in his legs, so when he swung his body upright, his heart was essentially pumping air for a few critical seconds. By performing the brain pump for just 10 seconds, you increase your venous return and wake up those rusty baroreceptors in a gentle, controlled way. While you are pumping your ankles, I want you to take 3 deep, intentional breaths. This isn't just for relaxation. It is a physical act of pressure management. Deep breathing creates a vacuum effect in your chest, which further pulls blood toward your heart and brain. In those first 10 seconds, you are effectively shifting your cardiovascular system from low power to ready mode without the violent surge of adrenaline that causes strokes. But the brain pump is only the first layer of protection. The second 10 seconds are where the most critical transition happens. And it's the step that most people skip because they are in a hurry to get to the bathroom or the kitchen. Now that your blood is moving and your second heart has primed the pump, we come to the most dangerous transition point in your entire morning. This is where Thomas's story took its tragic turn. He didn't just wake up, he launched. He went from a horizontal position to a standing one in a single explosive movement. This is the equivalent of taking a high-pressure system and suddenly opening the bottom valve. To protect your brain, you must implement the second stage of the fix, the seated Sentinel. After you have completed your 10 seconds of ankle pumps, I want you to sit up slowly. Do not stand yet. Swing your legs over the side of the bed and place your feet flat on the floor. Now, I want you to stay exactly where you are for 10 seconds. Do not reach for your glasses. Do not look at your phone, and do not try to stand up. Why are these 10 seconds so critical? When your torso becomes vertical, your heart has to suddenly increase its squeeze to overcome the height of your chest and neck to reach your brain. If you are sitting, your heart only has to fight gravity for about half the distance it would if you were standing. This seated sentinel position acts as a bridge. It allows those rusty baroreceptors to realize that the body is no longer flat, without overwhelming them with the full weight of a standing posture. During these 10 seconds, I want you to look straight ahead. If you feel even a hint of dizziness, a slight sparkle in your vision, or a feeling of faintness, it is a signal that your pressure hasn't stabilized yet. If you are sitting on the bed, you are safe. If you feel that dizziness while you are already standing, you are in a high-risk zone for a fall or a vascular surge. Thomas ignored the wobble. He felt the dizziness while he was halfway to his feet, and he thought he could just power through it. But your cardiovascular system doesn't care about your willpower. It cares about physics. By sitting for just 10 seconds, you are giving your medication and your natural sensors the time they need to negotiate with gravity. You are letting the tidal wave of blood settle into a steady flow. But even after these 10 seconds, there is one final hidden move. A specific muscle contraction you must perform the moment you actually stand up, that acts as a physical lock for your blood pressure. After the 10 seconds of sitting, it is time to rise. But as your body moves from the bed to a full standing position, you must perform the third and final step of the fix, the vascular lock. As you push yourself up, I want you to intentionally clench your thigh muscles and your glutes, the muscles in your buttocks, as hard as you can. Hold this contraction for 10 seconds as you find your balance. This isn't about a gym workout, it's about creating a physical tourniquet for your blood. By contracting these large muscle groups, you are mechanically squeezing the deep veins in your lower body. You are physically forcing the blood to stay in the upper half of your torso, ensuring that your brain never experiences that starvation window that triggers the dangerous rebound surge. Science has proven the power of this simple squeeze. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association has shown that isometric muscle contractions, like clenching your lower body, can stabilize blood pressure more effectively than some medications in certain postural situations. It provides an immediate manual boost to your circulatory system. It bridges the gap while those rusty baroreceptors in your neck are still trying to figure out that you're upright. Thomas didn't have a lock. When he stood up, his large leg muscles were relaxed. Gravity had a wide open path to pull his blood downward. His heart was left pumping against a void, which is exactly why his system eventually panicked and sent that violent, stroke-inducing surge of pressure through his arteries. By clenching your muscles for just 10 seconds as you stand, you are taking manual control of your plumbing. You are refusing to let gravity dictate the pressure in your brain. But there is one more factor we haven't discussed. A hidden trigger in your bedroom environment that can make this entire process twice as difficult for your heart. It's something most seniors do to stay comfortable at night, but it's actually sabotaging your body's ability to regulate its own pressure. It involves the temperature of your room and the way it affects your blood vessels before you even open your eyes. Thomas and Martha liked their bedroom cold. Like many people, they found that they slept better when the room was at 65 degrees. But while a cold room is great for sleep, it creates a hidden vascular ambush in the morning. When your body is cold, your blood vessels naturally constrict to keep your core warm. This is a survival mechanism. But it also means your arteries are already under a higher degree of tension before you even move. When you transition from the warmth of your blankets into a cold room and try to stand up quickly, Your body undergoes a thermal shock. This sudden change in temperature causes an immediate spike in your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. This adds a massive secondary layer of stress to an already struggling heart. For Thomas, the cold air of the room was the final nudge that sent his blood pressure over the edge. As a surgeon, I recommend a simple thermal bridge. Before you even sit up for your 10 seconds as the seated sentinel, I want you to have a robe or a warm layer within reach. Do not step out onto a cold floor with bare feet. The sudden sensation of cold on the soles of your feet can trigger a reflex that spikes your blood pressure by 20 points in a matter of seconds. By keeping your feet warm and your body covered as you transition out of bed, you are removing one more trigger that could cause an unstable plaque to rupture. Let's look at the 10-second fix as a complete mechanical checklist. First, the brain pump, 10 seconds. Pump your ankles and breathe deeply while flat on your back. Second, the seated sentinel, 10 seconds. Sit on the edge of the bed with your feet flat on the floor. Third, the vascular lock, 10 seconds. Clench your thighs and glutes as you stand and find your balance. Total time, 30 seconds. The cost, 0. The result, you have just navigated the most dangerous window of your day with a heart that is calm and a brain that is fully perfused with oxygen. Thomas survived his stroke, but his life was never the same. He had to learn how to swallow again. He had to learn how to say Martha's name again. Every morning now, he follows this 10-second fix with the discipline of a man who knows exactly what is at stake. He realized too late that momentum is not the same thing as health. In our final part, I am going to share one more morning habit that completes this protection, a simple liquid insurance policy that acts as the final guard for your arteries. Thomas learned the hard way that his body was not a machine that could be switched on instantly. It is a biological masterpiece that requires a transition period. But there is one final piece to this 10-second fix that I want you to implement the moment you finish your vascular lock. I call it your liquid insurance policy. Earlier, I mentioned that you wake up in a state of the dehydration gap. Your blood is at its thickest and your volume is at its lowest. To truly seal the protection for your brain, your very first action after standing up should be to drink 8 ounces of room temperature water. This isn't just for hydration, it is a mechanical tool. Water in the stomach triggers a reflex that slightly increases your blood pressure and heart rate in a controlled, non-violent way. It fills the pipes and provides your heart with the volume it needs to maintain a steady flow to your brain for the rest of your morning routine. Thomas follows this protocol now with a sense of reverence. He doesn't rush to the coffee pot. He doesn't hurry to the shower. He takes his 30 seconds on the bed. He clenches his muscles as he rises, and he drinks his water. He realizes that his independence is a gift that can be taken away in a single, careless morning. I want you to think about your heart and your brain not as invincible parts of yourself, but as partners that have been with you since before you were born. They have worked for you for 60, 70, or 80 years without a single break. They don't ask for much, but they do ask for 30 seconds of your patience in the morning. They ask for a chance to adjust to the world before you demand they fight gravity for you. When you implement the brain pump, the seated sentinel, and the vascular lock, you are doing more than just preventing dizziness. You are respecting the delicate physics of your own life. You are ensuring that the most critical years of your life are spent in clarity and independence, rather than in the shadow of a preventable tragedy. I want to hear from you now. This community is a global network of people who are taking charge of their own longevity, and I am honored to be a part of your journey. Where on this planet are you listening to me from right now? Let me know in the comments below, and I want us to share the reality of these silent signs so we can help others. Do you know someone, a friend, a neighbor, or a loved one, who has suffered a stroke or a serious fall after getting out of bed? Comment who they are and briefly share their story. Your experience might be the exact thing that convinces someone else to slow down and take those 30 seconds tomorrow morning. If this video helped you understand the hidden risks of your morning routine, please hit the like button and share it with those you care about. I'm Dr. Jason Watanabe. Take your time, breathe deep, and take care of your heart.